on today's session on sciatic nerve. In the introduction, we have to write that sciatic nerve is the thickest nerve in the body. It is so thick that there is a blood vessel coming from the inferior gluteal artery which supplies it, and this lies inside the sciatic nerve, and that is the reason the sciatic nerve is also sometimes addressed as pregnant nerve because it has an artery inside it. After talking about the introduction of sciatic nerve, let us talk about that where it origins and which plexus it comes from. So the origin. The origin of the sciatic nerve is from the sacral plexus. But there is a component from the lumbar plexus coming to the sacral plexus, lumbosacral trunk, which carries fibers of L4, L5. Now, what is the root value of the sciatic nerve? Now, sciatic nerve is made up of, it's a nerve which is made up of two components or two nerves which are bound together in a sheath, and that is the tibial nerve and common peroneal nerve. The tibial nerve and the common peroneal. Now, both of them will normally superficially, when we see the root values, we just write that it is L4, L5, S1, S2, and S3 for tibial nerve, and for common peroneal it is L4, L5, S1, S2. But this is very superficial explanation. What we have to understand is the tibial nerve takes origin from the ventral divisions. Ventral division. Why ventral divisions? Because tibial nerve supplies the flexors, while common peroneal nerve takes origin from the dorsal divisions. And the reason for that is this common peroneal nerve is going to give a branch deep peroneal nerve, and this deep peroneal nerve is going to supply the dorsiflexors or extensors of the ankle. And because it is going to supply the extensors, because it is going to supply the extensor, it will be from dorsal divisions. Of course, both of them will be from the ventral roots. But ventral roots further divide. Both of them are from the ventral roots. That is no doubt, because only the ventral roots they form the only the ventral roots they form the plexuses. Okay, but or rather the ventral primary rami. Both of them are from the ventral primary rami, and the ventral primary rami are the ones which are forming the plexus, because the dorsal primary rami, they directly supply the muscles of the back. They don't form the plexus. So both of them are from the ventral primary rami, but ventral primary rami divided into ventral divisions which supply the flexors and dorsal divisions which supply the extensors. So whenever you are describing the root value of the sciatic nerve in details, you have to say that it has two components: tibial nerve coming from the ventral divisions of L4, L5, S1, S2, and S3 and S3, and common peroneal nerve coming from L4, L5, S1, S2, but dorsal division because it is supplying the extensor. Now let us see the course of the sciatic nerve. The course of the sciatic nerve. Again, I am writing the course of the sciatic nerve. Course of the sciatic nerve. Firstly, I'll just write a summary of the course for you. The nerve starts from the pelvis. Nerve starts from the pelvis, and then it leaves the pelvis through the greater sciatic notch. Through the greater sciatic notch. and then it enters the gluteal region. That it enters the gluteal region. Then it leaves the gluteal region by passing between the greater trochanter. It passes between the greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity. Greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity. And after doing that, it enters the back of thigh. Back of thigh or the hamstring compartment. Back of thigh or the hamstring compartment. And from there, ultimately, it divides. It divides at the superior angle of popliteal fossa into terminal branches. Into the superior angle of popliteal fossa. In the exam, you are not supposed to write angle like this, okay? You have to write the word angle, popliteal fossa. Now let us, before I'll just revise the summary of the course. Well, it starts from pelvis, goes to greater sciatic notch, then to the gluteal region, then to the greater trochanter. It passes between greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity, goes to the hamstring compartment, then divides at the superior angle of the popliteal fossa. Now let's go into the details. Let's go into the details of the course and relation. So we said that it starts the course of the sciatic nerve. It starts in the pelvis. Now, what is the relation of the sciatic nerve in the pelvis? In the pelvis, we see the piriformis. In this pelvis, we see the piriformis, which is taking origin, and the piriformis takes its origin like this. Now we are looking from the anterior aspect, and then it goes out of the greater sciatic notch. It goes out of the greater sciatic notch to the pelvis. Suppose here is the notch. Now the sciatic nerve is lying on this anterior to the piriformis. This is the piriformis muscle. Piriformis. This is the piriformis, and this is the sciatic nerve. This is the sciatic nerve. So it lies in the pelvis. The relation is it lies anterior to piriformis. It lies anterior to the piriformis. What happens to the course further? From the pelvis, it leaves the pelvis by passing through greater sciatic notch. It leaves the pelvis by passing through greater sciatic notch. Then what happens is it enters the gluteal region. It enters the gluteal region. Now let us see what happens in the gluteal region. Now suppose this is the greater sciatic notch, and this is the piriformis muscle. Okay, it is coming out of it, and from below the cover of the piriformis, we are able to see the sciatic nerve which is coming out. We are seeing the sciatic nerve which is coming. So this is piriformis. Okay, this is greater sciatic notch. Okay, and this is the sciatic nerve. Okay, this is the sciatic nerve. So I would say it enters the gluteal region deep to piriformis, but because we are looking from the posterior aspect, it is anterior to the piriformis. Because when we look from the anterior aspect, we could see it was anterior. Now we have gone behind and we are seeing, so we said deep or anterior to piriformis. In gluteal region, whatever is deep is anterior, whatever is superficial is posterior when we are looking from the posterior aspect. Now here there are couple of muscles which are lying deep, which are lying deep, and those muscles are the obturator internus and two gemella. So this These these are those muscles. So what are these muscles? This is superior gemellus. This is inferior gemellus, and this is obturator internus. This is obturator internus. So superior gemellus, inferior gemellus, obturator internus. Below that is quadratus femur. All are the deep relations of the sciatic nerve: superior gemellus, obturator internus, inferior gemellus, and quadratus femoris. They are the deep relations or anterior. Apart from this, there will be also the body of ischium, capsule of the hip joint. Okay, so it enters the gluteal region. What are its relations in the gluteal region? The relations are and superficial, covering all of these muscles, like this, will be the gluteus maximum, which will be superficial or posterior, along with the posterior cutaneous nerve. What are its medial relations? There will be inferior gluteal nerve and vessels. So the inferior gluteal nerve and vessels will be here, medial. Inferior gluteal nerve and vessels on the medial side. Because these are going to supply the gluteus maximum, the inferior gluteal nerve and vessels. So I am now going to write the relations in the gluteal region. The relations in the gluteal region before we go ahead with the course. The relations in the gluteal region are superficial. Superficial relation is gluteus maximus muscle. Gluteus maximus muscle and sometimes posterior cutaneous nerve of. What are the deep relations? Deep relations we can see here. Okay, obturator internus, superior and inferior gemellus. In the exam, you have to write the full form. You cannot, write the way I'm writing a short form. Okay, superior and inferior gemelli. Then quadratus femoris, and along with this, there is capsule of hip joint. That is how hip joint, in case of posterior dislocation, may damage the sciatic nerve. It may damage the sciatic nerve. Deep can be body of the ischium and nerve to quadratus femoris. On the medial aspect, there will be inferior gluteal nerve and vessels. Inferior gluteal nerve and the posterior cutaneous nerve 5, which was superficial, will come again to lie on the medial side. Now, what happens to the course further? How does it leave the gluteal region? So it leaves the gluteal region. It leaves the gluteal region by passing between greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity. Greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity. Okay. The quadratus femoris, what we are seeing here, takes its origin from the ischial tuberosity, and gets inserted on the greater trochanter. So that's how you can see it has entered the gluteal region by passing through the greater sciatic notch below the piriformis, and it is leaving the gluteal region by passing between the ischial tuberosity, and the greater trochanter. Okay, and now it is entering the hamstring compartment. It is heading towards the hamstring compartment or the posterior compartment of the heart. Now let us see what happens in the hamstring compartment or the posterior compartment. So here is the ischial tuberosity, here is the greater trochanter, and now the nerve has from here, the nerve has entered the hamstring compartment. Okay, the nerve has entered the hamstring compartment. Now suppose this is the medial side, this is the lateral side, this is the superior aspect, this is the inferior. Now the origin of the biceps femoris is like this. The origin of the biceps femoris muscle is from the ischial tuberosity along with the semitendon. So it will go, but it will go on the lateral side. It will go on the lateral side. It will cross it from medial to lateral. And also taking origin from here is semimembranosus from the ischial tuberosity along with the biceps femoris is the origin of semitendinosus, which this is semitendinosus. Okay, so this is semitendinosus. This is semimembranosus. So the medial relations will be semitendinosus, and the nerve will be lying on this muscle over here, and that is adductor magnus. Adductor magnus. Adductor magnus. So that will be the deep or anterior relation. And here now the nerve will divide. Now the nerve will divide into a lateral branch and it will divide into a medial branch. Okay, the lateral branch and a medial. So it divides into common peroneal, and tibial. Common peroneal and tibial. Okay. So now here we see the nerve dividing into common peroneal and tibial. So now what are the relations? What are the relations? We have seen already that how biceps femoris is crossing it superficially. So superficial or anterior relation. The superficial or posterior relation. Superficial or posterior relation. Whatever is superficial from here is the posterior relation. Is biceps femoris. Is biceps femoris. Okay. Deep relation or anterior relation is adductor magnus. Is adductor magnus. So you can see here it is lying on the adductor magnus. Medial relation is semimembranosus and semitendinosus. Medial relation is semimembranosus and semitendinosus and also posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. And the lateral relation is biceps femoris because biceps femoris once it crosses now comes to lie on the lateral is biceps femoris. Lateral relation is, and here it now divides into its terminal branches. Okay. It is always accompanied by its small companion artery, which is a branch of inferior brachial. But it's not mandatory that the sciatic nerve divides every time at the superior angle of the popliteal fossa. It may divide higher up also. What are the branches? Branches are that one is whenever we write the branches of any branches for things, we should always remember like we have MACD for McDonald's. Here we can use the formula MACV. Okay, muscular branches, articular branches, cutaneous branches, and vascular branches. In case of sciatic nerve, what are most important is articular branches and muscular branches. So articular branches, they go to the hip joint. Articular branches, they go to the hip joint. And muscular branches, the muscular branches are from the tibial part of the sciatic nerve. This is how we say tibial part of the sciatic nerve. It supplies the hamstring. It supplies the semimembranosus, semitendinosus. It supplies the adductor magnus, and it supplies long head of bicep femur. Students, you have to be very careful about biceps femoris because its long head is supplied by the tibial part of sciatic nerve, while the common peroneal part of sciatic nerve supplies the short head of biceps femur. It supplies the short head of biceps femur. Okay, so these are the branches, and we can say that the third thing is are terminal branches are tibial nerve and common peroneal. Tibial nerve and common peroneal. Now let us write the last component, that is applied anatomy. The applied anatomy of the sciatic nerve. Now this is asked for 2 marks. So sometimes the sciatic nerve may get compressed by prolonged sitting, okay, or due to some artificial stretching. So that is called as, and then a person gets what is called as a sleeping foot. Sleeping foot deformity, where we are not able to move the foot, and this happens because of, you know, uh, compression of the sciatic nerve against the hip. Compression of the sciatic nerve against the hip. Hmm? Compression of the sciatic nerve against the femur causes sleeping foot due to prolonged sitting, unusual stretching. But most important is condition called sciatica. Sciatica. In what happens in sciatica is because the sciatic nerve has its root value L4, L5, S1, S2, S3. If there is any damage at even L4, L5 level, okay, from where the uh, or you, wherever these nerve roots are taking origin, and if there is any stretching, any irritation, the pain will, there will be a shooting pain rather. This word is used. There is a shooting pain, right, starting from the back to the foot. Shooting pain starting from the back, then back of the thigh, and then goes to the foot. This is sciatica due to damage of the nerve roots which give rise to the sciatic nerve. Then in case of posterior dislocation, of the hip joint, sciatic nerve is damaged. Like this can lead to damage to sciatic nerve. And last but not the least, in case of above knee amputation, one has to remember that there inside the sciatic nerve, there is a blood vessel which is supplied to a sciatic nerve. It's called as pregnant nerve. So suppose this is sciatic nerve, it contains a blood vessel, a artery. To be specific, it contains an artery, and arteries have pressure in high arterial blood pressure is there, and therefore in case of above knee amputation, if all other arteries are ligated and then the amputation is done, but if one fails to ligate this artery, this can lead to bleeding. So this artery has to be ligated without fail. okay, in above knee amputation. So that's all for the sciatic now. Thank you so much. Please do subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for the latest update. Thank you so much.